Hello everyone and welcome back to the Elite Dangerous Park of Planet Coaster. This episode we're going to be working on finishing up this block here, the city block of the downtown kind of shopping district, where it's going to be a little bit more, I guess, nice looking and have two layers. So you're going to have a lower floor and an upper floor where everyone's going to be walking on. So let's get straight into building this structure. And what I want to do is, of course, go ahead and start laying out the skeletal frame of how this thing's going to work. I'm also going to go ahead and lay out a little bit of the framing for some of the buildings across the street. Now, you do this so that you're able to slowly plan out where these paths and roadways are going to be connecting in the long run. It's going to be a harder process to try and get a path like this, because when a path is floating, you can see I'm having trouble actually clicking and placing it in the right area. Since there's a path directly below us, it's kind of wanting to go ahead and try and make new pathing from the old pathing. I also want to try and look at some potential spots that we want to put some staircases for the access points to the upper floor. Now, I want to have two staircases. Obviously, that's going to increase, the flow of people that can go up and down. They're not going to be super wide staircases, so the more staircases that we have, the better. Other than that, we're going to frame out a little bit more of the general catwalk shape today, and using these metal arches as a base frame and a jumping point so that I roughly know what I want in terms of some detailing. Detailing is going to be a little bit of a longer process, just like how it was in the first area, where we went through, built some of the signs, some of the scenery, and then went back in and made the area kind of match and popped in some signs, popped in some wires and other lighting elements to make the whole thing start to match. Also, eventually, just like the first area, we're going to be recoloring these really plain gray walls. I just didn't want to worry about color this early on, because if I had to do that and worry about the shape of things, I feel like that would slow me down. I'm not really the quickest builder to begin with. This took 3.5 hours to make, and really I don't consider it a whole lot of progress, but to keep these out daily for you guys, I come home, I build some stuff in Planet Coaster, I upload the video, and hopefully one or two people might like it. We're going to be working on framing a lot of these wall elements using some lights. We're going to be using vents, of course. All these sci-fi pieces, I'm starting to get actually a little dry on ideas. I need to either go back into some reference material, potentially, just so I can think of more advanced shapes than what I'm doing now. The layers of piping and layers of lighting and overhangs can really only get you so far. It got us this far, but going forward, I wouldn't mind some more intricate details, some more unique details that's really you're only going to find in the park itself. I don't quite know how to do that. Again, this isn't really, my strongest theme. The thing we built the other day, the Guild Hall, that's more of a fantasy theme. I'm far more comfortable and stronger in that theme when it comes to kind of making up elements and decor to put around the building. Like for example, using that galleon back window set for the Guild Hall, and also making a custom spire. I haven't made a custom spire for Sci-fi. I wonder if that's because I don't think of spires when I think of Sci-fi. I think more skyscrapers, which are a little bit more boxy. Some of them would have an angled roof like the one we're working on now, but would they have spires? I guess the Empire State Building has a spire. Sears Tower has a spire, but those aren't completely futuristic. Those are just kind of modern buildings. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know if I want to try my hand at making some custom spires for this thing just to make it pop out. Maybe a larger, kind of more cohesive structure than these. These kind of downtown areas and city-like areas that we add to this park are more along the lines to add kind of skylines and more elements to make you feel like you're in a downtown area rather than having a weenie, for example, kind of up on a mountain to draw everyone's attention, I kind of want to actually do the opposite and have everything be too tall and have everything make you feel crowded in to the area, because to me that's what a city is like, you know. If you're in New York and you're just down an alleyway, I doubt you're going to be able to see like the Empire State Building or the World Trade Center or anything like that. You know, you're going to see basically all the buildings within a block or two around you, and that happens to be the Empire State Building or something tall, then that's when you'll see it. Not really from far away, unless you're at like a wide enough street with a view angle. And now I'm just rambling on about random things that don't pertain to this build at all. The roof itself, you know, angled. I'd like to frame my walls and structures, as you can see, using the more rounded elements to kind of box it in, and then I fill inside with detailing. I think that's kind of the same method that I use for, say, fantasy or fairy tale. When you do like a Tudor style structure, you're going to be, you know, framing the walls with wood and timber and then framing the windows. So that's kind of my mindset there. More air conditioner units and a little bit of a colorful overhang, just, you know, something, a pop of color on there for now. We'll go back in, of course, add more of that. I also want to add more seating eventually. I do like how that little kind of seating courtyard thing turned out, and I kind of want to work that in throughout the rest of this district and other elements that we haven't gotten to use much of. We haven't gotten to use much greenery because obviously the slums area, the first zone, wouldn't have much of that. It's very more crowded than this first one, and it is you know, this one's gonna have a little bit more parks, a little something like that. At least that's what I hope for. I was talking to some people earlier. I think I was talking to Nighty, and they were suggesting some greenery elements for here, and I do think that's a great suggestion, and it provides color without having to worry too much. This thing is looking a little gray. Other than that, I do of course still want to slowly start working in more Elite Dangerous references. It's a little hard to do for a downtown area. We haven't really been into a downtown area yet in that game, so there's nothing for me to directly reference beyond maybe putting some Elite logos around or some references on signs, but I think that'll come around a later date. Here's some more catwalk kind of working. We used the metal kind of framework blocks just to block in some rough metal works. I wanted to try and put some awnings on the side of it, see what it looked like, possibly hang some signs off them as well. Didn't really like it. I eventually take that out and leave it just kind of exposed catwalk there. Want to do some custom grates. You know, we used the icing on that left side there. This area is a little bit too open to use that icing, just because it's not a perfect square. It's a little bit rounded, more like a window, and I needed this thing to be very accurate and very man-made looking, and so that's why we went with more of a box grid-like element. Also, we're going to have some wires, exposed wires. We're going to run those along. We'll have some hazard kind of plating here around the edge, and that'll just provide something to look at and break up this overall surface and make that area look a little bit more hazardous than it does. Hence why the railings kind of stop before there. You don't want to slip and have your leg fall through one of those holes. That wouldn't be the most pleasant of experiences. Now, at this point, skipped ahead just a little bit. You know, we just continued detailing around this building, added this kind of window pane here to kind of match the other side. And at this point, you know, I wanted to add some white concrete around. Now, this is going to contrast with the black kind of actual pathing concrete, but also it's going to make it look very clean around the area. There's no grass, nothing like that. And we'll use these little cargo containers with the little blue lights as planters to put some greenery elements in, and also we'll bring back the little flower planters that we made before. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything at real time. You guys can give me your feedback, and we'll go from there. All right, So this is currently where we are. You can see some signs slowly being added here, and I really want to overload that very much like, say, something from Neo Tokyo, where it's just signs upon signs upon signs in this area, and maybe even more signs in the previous area. They do light up. They do lower your FPS because it is a light source at nighttime. So keep that in mind if you guys are building something on a lesser machine. This game is still very FPS heavy. So what we have here is building number 2 for the downtown kind of shopping. I guess you could call this like an outdoor mall-like area. And obviously, a lot of people here really enjoying it. I don't know why everyone is wearing kind of Robin Hood hats and cowboy hats. I really need to up the price of those or something so they're just wearing sci-fi ones. But this is our little section that we have going for us here. Obviously, we have Street Fox Coffee, a little bit of security door there so they can let goods and services in and out, and the worker doesn't have to climb through the window to get behind the counter. Arrow signs, you know, mixing in some plating, some different light sources, piping coming through the support structures. We also have our greenery space, which has some seating underneath of it, which is great. Looks like these people are really enjoying the view of some gray boxes. So if you guys enjoy the view of gray boxes, feel free to leave a like down below. We have a nice tall tree here. This is an ash tree and some smaller planters to the side because I can't really fit a tree directly underneath the catwalks there. We have a water vendor over here, a little bit of an access door for him, a little bit of a covered walkway area, and we have all the decorative pieces along the back side here. So when you're kind of walking from the Sidewinder Bar and Grill, this is kind of what you're seeing at the moment, and hopefully when we get that built up, it'll look like you're kind of heading into a very heavy downtown area. I might make one tall structure here as well, just to balance that out. You know, you don't want to make it look like you're coming from very short buildings to very tall buildings all of a sudden. I kind of want a little bit of a gradient working in there. Other than that, you know, we're pre-planning our upper area quite nicely. We have a, what is this? This is a loony balloon stall. Also, we have a bathroom connecting kind of in the central hub of that pathway, and we have, I believe this is what, Pip Shot? Yeah, Pip Shot Juice. So Juice stall up here. He's sad. No one's really coming here, and that just makes him happy. He's a very bored guy. Also, he has no way to leave because there's no staircases, so he's stuck up there basically forever. Here is our custom grating with some exposed wires. We're going to add a lot more of this kind of stuff throughout the whole build process, and this is just basically what you're just looking at is time, and time is not your friend when you're trying to do these on a daily basis. So we'll head on up so you guys can kind of see an overview of what we're going for. I could technically, you know, steal some designs from our old Skyline set that we made previously, but I feel like, you know, these have been used quite a lot and they're kind of undetailed. They're very kind of simple, so I would prefer them to be just kind of background structures. These, however, people are walking through, you know, they're going up into the structures, and it makes it a little harder to detail them out, as, you know, the interior space is limited. Because obviously there's some vendors inside of it. You don't want to clip into the vendor stalls. You don't want to clip into the potential pathways or the potential staircases that we're going to be using to get people up and around. And it'll look so cool once there's people up here, there's people down here, and eventually all this will be filled out with a whole bunch of details. I'm thinking of adding even more greenery. This is supposed to be kind of the nicer side of the park, so we might as well make it look nice and a little bit more not high end, I guess pricey would be an okay word. Other than that, that's pretty much where we're at currently. So, if you guys enjoy Planet Coaster, feel free to leave a like down below. Go ahead, leave a comment on what you think, what you want to see built next, any ride skins you want to potentially see, anything from Elite Dangerous that's not a ship. We still haven't even built the landing pad for the Type 7 yet. That's going to go back there eventually. I just need to try and finish up this area. Like, for example, the Sidewinder Bar and Grill. I love that use for the Sidewinder. Now I'm rambling on the outro, which is great. All right, so until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.